Hey, hello everybody. Welcome to another episode of Rican Van Driller. Just like the title of the video said, yes, my house is gonna have to go. I am gonna have to let the house go. Well, I don't have to, but if I wanna enjoy a decent financial future, I'm gonna have to. Cause see, what happened was I woke up the other day and I was walking in the kitchen floor. I was walking in my kitchen and a piece of the floor was a little weaker than it's ever been. I never noticed it. I never noticed that weak spot before. So at first I didn't think anything about it. And then I started thinking a lot about it. So what happened was I went to the library and I typed in weak flooring. And when I typed that in, not a whole lot came up. So then I decided to walk around the house to see if there were any more weak spots. And there were two more weak spots, but not as weak as the spot that was in my kitchen. So then I got to thinking that maybe I might have termites in the house. Now I've hired a home inspector and I've assumed that the home inspector knew about termites. So if I had termites, he would have been able to tell me that this house has got termites. Well, I went online and I did my research about termites and the different type of termites that are out there. And I looked at several pictures of what termite damage looks like. So after I got done looking at those pictures, I decided to take a walk through my house to see if I saw any of those type of damages, and sure enough, I saw quite a bit of those type of damages. Now, and then I came outside and I took a walk outside my house to see if there were signs of termites according to what I researched, and once again there were plenty of signs of termites. Now, did I hire a termite inspector to come out? No, I didn't. However, I did do a termite test. I took a screwdriver and I took a screwdriver and I dug into one of my e-softs. And I noticed that the wood was spongy. And I kept on digging in that e-soft with a screwdriver, and more of the wood began to break off. Then there were some other e-softs that had a wood support on the bottom of those. And I noticed that the wood support was like super spongy. So to make a long story short, there's like a lot of evidence of termite damage to my house. So apparently my home inspector did not know what termite damage looked like. So as far as I'm concerned, my house is infested with termites, and with that being said, I'm letting the house go, because the cost that it would run for me just to get the house treated for termites averages $2,000 to $3,000 for the square footage that I have at my house. I mean, my house is 1,900 square feet, so number one, I don't need any living quarters that big. And for that square footage, I believe the cost would average $2,500, which, number one, I don't got $2,500, and number two, even if I did, I can think of a lot of other things to do with $2,500, to be completely honest. So, and that's just to get the house treated. Or two, the cost they would run for me to treat each structure of the house would be around $300. So basically, the cost of treating the house for termites is extremely expensive. In fact, termites do the most amount of damage, and out of all home repairs, the cost to repair termite damage is more expensive than any other home repair put together on average. I mean, I believe on average per year in the United States, termites are responsible for, I think, $5 billion of property damage in general for people who own houses. So, anyhow, enough of the statistics. Back to me. Anyhow, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I got extremely emotional about the research I've done. And then when I looked at the fact that my house had a lot of those type of damages, I got extremely emotional. I didn't want to face the music, but given that I'm not making a whole lot of money, I have no choice but to face the music if I want to sustain any kind of a financial future for myself. I mean, you know, my philosophy is I don't need to live in a house. I don't need to have a house. I'm not willing to go back to working 60, 70, 80-hour work weeks like I used to in order to afford housing. I think that's bullshit, and I'm not going to do it. Because that's basically what I would be looking at doing at this point, now that I've realized that my house has got a significant amount of termite damage. I'm not willing to work that hard for nothing. I mean, I think that's utter bullshit. I mean, if I did work extra hours beyond 40 hours, beyond a 40-hour work week, it would be because I'm taking that money to a company like Charles Schwab, and I'm opening up investment accounts to where my money will work for me versus me having to work for it all the time. So the money which I've been spending on my house payment along with my utilities, I'm going to take that money to Charles Schwab or a company like Charles Schwab, and I'm going to invest that money into accounts that will build me a decent amount of interest on my money. And while that's going on, obviously, I'm going to be living in this wonderful van that I got here. Now, as I said before, in time, yes, I will be getting a better van. But for now, I'm going to just live in this van full time. Because I've looked at vans for my price range, and there's none out there that's going to be decent. Because I figure if I gotta make the transition from my house to living in a van, I want the transition to be smooth as possible. I don't want to deal with breakdowns and all that kind of bullshit. I mean, I've had this van for over a year. I've put in a considerable amount of money in repairs already. I drive this van every day, and it's been a reliable vehicle. It hasn't gave me a whole lot of issues. So I'm going to I feel safe just keeping this van for now, making the best of it. And maybe in a few months, once I save up a few $1,000s, I'll turn around and I'll buy me something better. That way I'm not worrying so much about breakdowns and all that other type of shit. So yeah, the house is gonna have to go. I feel a little sad, but At the same time, I do feel some degree of relief, because now the money that I've been spending on house payments and utilities, I will now get to take that money and use it to pay myself rather than somebody else. So I'm sad, but at the same time, I'm relieved. Well, I don't know what else to say. I will be making another video that will show some of the termite damage that I'm talking about. So be on the lookout for that video. Everybody try to have a wonderful day. I will see you on the next video. And thanks for watching another episode of Weekend Van Driller. Like and subscribe below.